Good evening, everybody. I am Norm Shrine with Information Radio 1660. And once again, we come to Archer's Tavern in Kettering. This is our fifth time that we've had the chance to interview Coach Shauna Green prior to the University of Dayton women's basketball season. It's also our 19th year of broadcasting the basketball games. So I'm going to turn it over now to Barney Sentner and Dennis Shaw and, of course, Coach Green.
All right, thank you, Norm, and welcome, Shauna. Thank you for joining us tonight. Dennis, we'll get to him in a moment. He's still studying his depth charts for his Fairmont football game Friday night, so he's got all sorts of numbers and configurations, so we'll let him study for a few minutes. So, Coach, you know how I always like to start this. Summer isn't always just basketball. You and Andy and Mateo, did you get to do anything, go anywhere, and have any fun this summer?
Yeah, we actually got away a couple times down to Florida for a family vacation, so it was nice we hadn't gotten away in, over a year, so we did make time to do that, and it was much, much needed.
Excellent. All right, so here's where I want to start with this. We know you've got your 45th year seniors coming back, the big three, and I don't know what I read the article in the Dayton Daily News. I don't know what I'm going to call them either. But AB and, of course, Jaconi and Aaron. So when the announcements were made, they were not made all three of them coming back at once. It was like 1-1-1. Give us a little behind the scenes. Did you feel that they were all going to come back at once, or did one influence another and another? How was the timing of that working?
Yeah, I don't know what they were all talking about in their circle, but one told me first, and then the next, and then I got a phone call from AB was the last one. So not sure how much they all influenced each other, and I kind of let them, the last few weeks of the season, we didn't talk about it. I didn't mention it. I just wanted them to play and not have to worry about anything. So they came to, and I said we would talk about it at the end of the season. Well, they kind of, after it ended, they had their time and they talked with their family. And before we could even talk, they called and had told me that they had made the decision to come back.
And by the way, I probably should have mentioned in the beginning, 14-5 last year, WNIT 12-1 in conference. So you alluded to this a little bit in the Dayton Daily News article this week. Obviously, they come back. You've got a team full of experience. How does that affect your practices versus having a whole new team?
It's been really, really important because last year when we had the 5 true freshmen and then also the 3 kids that had not played a minute, in college basketball at Dayton, it was so much teaching. Every little thing we had to teach, and it took a lot longer to implement stuff. And then you throw on last year COVID, which we were in quarantine, I think our trainer said over 60-some days total. It was hard to really get a lot of things in and get a good feel and good chemistry together. So that's the biggest thing that I see is just the chemistry, the feel for one another. They know what the expectations are, and that's helped us progress a lot quicker.
And, it's interesting. I'll get to Dennis in a moment. He's going to stop looking at football. But, you're going to face a lot of teams this year that, well, first of all, one of your teams you're going to play didn't even play last year. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But you're going to face a lot of teams where they've got transfers coming in from other programs. They're not sure of their rotation. And you've got everybody back. So I know you don't want to jinx this, but it puts you in a wonderful situation.
I mean, yeah, I don't.
You're not going to agree with me.
No, it's always comforting knowing that you have experience coming back and knowing that you know what you're going to get from certain people. And I also love that you know our super seniors. That's what I call the 3 of them. And then you have your seniors. So I think they've all taken their game to another level and all have made strides, even being their 6th year. And then you look at our freshmen last year and our sophomores now, they have made just tremendous strides on the court, but more importantly in their growth and maturity off the court. And again, the experience of knowing expectations has been the biggest key. So it really, that's what's nice as a coach and comforting, at least knowing, good or bad, you know what you're going to get. And now you can work and tweak that and kind of get ahead of things before waiting for games to actually, try to make adjustments.
One follow-up to that, and then I'll get over to Dennis. All 3 of them were so stellar last year. I don't have to get into the accolades. I think most people who follow the program know that. But do each of the players have something that they feel they needed to work on, weakness from last year? Is that how they're approaching this year, that there's something they specifically want to go over to try to improve one aspect of their game?
Yeah, they all three, and actually everyone on the team. We had postseason meetings, and this year we did a little bit different. At the end of last year, we broke down made a plan and goals for them in the summer, and took every aspect of their development and what they were going to do and what we needed to do to make them the best version of themselves. So it was very detailed plan, and then we, obviously they worked all summer, and then they came back and we revisited that. So I think at the end of the day, those three, they all pushed it, not even as much just on the basketball floor. They took strides and really are like, hey, I'm going to do every little thing from nutrition to recovery to sleep, to stretching. All those things, they pushed another level up, and they're all in the best shape that they've been in probably their career, and are moving the best that they've moved. So that's where I think you see just like taking it to another level from the holistic view.
Dennis?
So obviously these are all, good perks of having these players back, but a challenge I would think would be, kind of determining playing time and dealing with, so generally these players would be leaving the program, and you have kind of players in the wings kind of ready to come up and start to, make their name. Just talk about the challenge of that and how playing time is getting sorted out.
No, you're right, Dennis. That's the biggest challenge, right? There's you have 14 people on your team, and there's only 40 minutes in a game, and we're very deep, and there's so many players that could play a ton and start. And I've already been talking to them about that, and I reference a lot. I don't like to reference previous years, but I think a great example is 2 years ago on our championship team when literally multiple players could have started that year, and we had a ton of people that came in certain moments and made huge impacts in certain games to win us games. So we've been talking about, really the strength of us is our depth, is our roster, and the chemistry and the togetherness is something that we preach all the time, and we gotta live it, and we gotta put that into action, because some people aren't going to get to play as much as other people, and a lot of that will determine how people play, as if they play more minutes or don't play as many.
So obviously one of those players, Jenna Giacone, last year just a massive uptick in production. She went from 6.4 points a game to 12.4 points a game. Just seemed like she got better and better as the year went on. How has her summer been, and what are expectations for this year?
Yeah, her expectations, really, I think she took her I talked about that holistic approach. She really took the nutritional piece very serious, and the working out and getting all the workouts in. And I think her game has now, she was really good, and now she's even more versatile. And I think the confidence piece from last year is going to really help her lean into this year. Obviously, we expect her, we need her to score at a high level, at all three levels. And I think she's gotten better defensively, which is another key area, which Erin has gotten. So far, she's showing great improvements on the defensive side, and those are things we needed out of those two players to make us better defensively.
I want to ask you one more question about a super senior, and then I'll give you back to Barney. But so AB, she was nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year award, one of just 16 nominees. And I've kind of been in awe just seeing everything that she's done off the court. So just talk about your point guard and some of the off-the-court things that she's done.
Yeah, I could talk about her forever in terms of what she and who she is as a person, and that's the most important thing. You couldn't ask for someone that is a better leader and sets the example. So she's not just, preaching it, she's living it, and she's walking the walk. So couldn't be more proud of the initiative she's taken off the floor with her organization and all the other things that she's involved in. And there's no one more deserving to be, nominated for that award than AB. And from the basketball perspective, she's another one that really she's shooting the ball right now, and I don't want to jinx it, but she's shooting the three at a high level. And as you guys know, that's something that we've wanted her to work on. She has worked on it. She's put a ton of time into it, and right now she's seeing some of the rewards from it. The ball's going through the net a lot from 3-point.
Okay, so we've talked about the three Musketeers coming back. Maybe I'll just refer to them like that. That may be easiest. So I want to talk about the three players on this roster who were not on the court last year. One of them is a redshirt, so we'll start with Anna LeMaster from Virginia, 5'9", 3 years in high school, over 1,000 points. Give us your impressions on her progress.
Yeah, she is coming back from obviously, 2 surgeries last season, and it's amazing how her recovery and how she's out there right now practicing every day. And after hip surgery, I mean, it's just amazing. Like, she's back. She's 100%. She's looking good. She's making strides. And I just told her she has to be patient with herself because, she's like a freshman on the floor, but she's progressing very, very well. She's shooting the ball extremely well right now, and she gives us another bigger guard that can shoot. So it's going to take some time because it's a process, and she's like a freshman. She's never played a college minute, but really like her work ethic and the direction that she's going in.
2 freshmen then on this team. I love hyphenated names, especially when you're trying to call play-by-play. I'm a big fan of that. Bryn Shoup-Hill, 6'3", Goshen, Indiana, her high school's all-time leading scorer. Your impressions of her?
Bryn's been great. Actually, both of our freshmen, I couldn't have asked for a better transition. But the thing that I love about Bryn, and I think that our fans are going to love about Bryn, is her versatility. She's 6'2", can stretch it, and she shoots a 3 at an elite level. It's been a little bit of an adjustment, I think, with her shot, with the three-point line going back further. And so that's about 2 feet back from high school to now college with the new line. But just of the last week and a half, that thing goes in. She gets a clean look. That thing's going in most of the time. So, learning the pace of the game and learning the physicality is what she says are the biggest adjustments. But she gives us a different look because of her ability to stretch the floor.
Shannon Wheeler, 6 foot, out of Detroit, last year, all Michigan first team.
Shannon, if you remember Javonna, I think that's someone that's a similar, obviously that's where I think she can get to. Her athleticism, her length, her ability to run the floor. She does some things and it just looks so smooth and goes up, gets rebounds. You can't teach some of the things that she does just because they're pure athleticism and, like I said, her overall length. So both of our freshmen, I mean, they don't, for me, they don't look like freshmen on the practice floor. Usually freshmen, you're getting on, or they don't know the plays. I mean, they're up on their plays. They know what's going on. They listen very well. They're so coachable, and then they can actually apply it on the court. Where sometimes you listen, but it's hard to apply, and they're applying it really well. So they're just going to keep on getting better because of that. They work hard. They listen. They're coachable. They're going to get better.
Dennis?
So I'll give you an easy question here because it's obviously exciting, but fans, they're coming back.
Yeah.
How weird was it playing in empty stadiums, and just how exciting it is for everybody to, welcome back fans.
That's why I said it's just so good to be here and have some normalcy. We cannot wait to get back and have UD Arena, what makes UD Arena special, and that's the fans. It was not fun playing, in front of 100 or whatever people it was at home, and then on the road sometimes it was no one. And, they're pumping in that fake crowd noise. It wasn't fun. So we can't wait to get back, hopefully have, great crowds every game like we're used to in the past, and hopefully we can get even more people out there because people haven't seen sports and live sports in a little bit. So hopefully they'll be anxious to get out and support our team.
And they should support something that you don't take a lot of credit for or anything like that. But 4 of your 5 seasons here, you've enjoyed double-digit win streaks. Some pretty long ones, 15 and 16 in 2017 and 19. So talk about those long win streaks. Like, do you have superstitions during them, and just how fun is that to be a part of some of those long ones?
No, they're great. They're amazing, and we've always kind of learned from our non-conference, and even some of those where we're going to play the best, and we've taken some losses, but it's always, and credit our kids because it's prepared them and set us up to do well in conference. But yeah, I mean, the more you win too, the more pressure that's on you, and we try to just take it day by day, possession by possession. But I think overall, I'm superstitious, big time. I probably have influenced some of our team and certain traditions that we do that we know we have to do before every game. But yeah, hopefully we can have another one of those big streaks this year.
So the exhibition game is on Friday, November the 5th. It's about 3 weeks away from our taping now. So I want to ask you a little bit about Indiana University of Pennsylvania. If somebody says, oh, blah. Here's what they get to find out. A couple of interesting things about them. First of all, they didn't play last year, so from a scouting standpoint, I don't know what that does for you. And the other thing is they have one heck of a program. The last 4 years that they have played, they've only gone 112-18. So there's some similarities to Ashland.
Yes.
We know how that turned out. That was a heck of a game. What are your thoughts about Indiana, University of Pennsylvania, knowing their track record? How do you scout and get ready for that game, or is it an exhibition game and you just basically are worried about your own team?
I think it's both. Like you said, they didn't play, so there's not going to be a lot of scouting from last year. And I know their tradition, and that's, again, we're going to, like Ashland, right? We want to play the best and get good preparation. Actually, the connection, too, with the head coach, his daughter-in-law is a player that I played college basketball with. So that's where we kind of have some connections, too. She was on my college team. So it'll be fun to play them. Again, the tradition of their program, the tradition of ours, and it's going to be a good test. I mean, we're also going at a close scrimmage. We're going to play Michigan, who's a top 10 ranked team in the country. So we're going to know October 30th, one way or another, where we're at and what we need to work on. So this season, as you see from our non-conference, from our scrimmage, from our exhibition, we're testing ourselves, and we're going to go out and compete against the best that will play us, and we'll see where we're at, and we'll get better each game from it.
In a couple of moments, there are going to be a couple of people who are going to step to the mic and ask you a question. Before we do that, let's talk about your staff. There's some changes there, so you've got to deal with that. Olivia Applewhite says, goodbye, Lisa Stone. Hello. How did that work out? Did you have to get permission? Normally, and of course, Olivia, 121 games at UD, so it's not like she just came off the street.
Yeah.
How did that work out? I mean, was she a free agent? I'm kind of curious. I don't know if Lisa's going to be angry at you, but how did that work out that Olivia decided to join you guys?
As a head coach, you always are watching and always have your short list together, and you hope you never lose assistants, and we've kept our assistants. I mean, our staff last year had been together almost 4 years, and that was, extremely important in our success. And obviously lost Coach Mack to Texas, which is something she couldn't pass up, and I'm so happy for her and a great opportunity for her. So then when that happened, it's very important to me, too, the piece with the Dayton connection. That's an important piece to me. When I'm looking at, hiring a woman and wanting someone that really has a true love for this university, and also they have someone like Olivia has a great knowledge of the conference, and obviously great knowledge of Dayton. So I've thought about her in the past and just never had that opportunity. So when we had the opening, obviously yes, you call the other coach and you talk about that, and I'm sure Lisa's not happy, but Lisa's also a professional, and she's a great coach, and we have a good relationship. So I think she knew that that's where Olivia wanted to come back and come back home.
Now, Emily Durr, this is an interesting one. She's going to be administrative assistant, and she was a one-year head coach at New York Community College. She has a great pedigree from Iowa State. She scored 965 points. What is interesting about her adding to the staff, especially being a head coach?
Yeah, it was. She was an interesting one when Ryan, my assistant, knows her, and because they kind of grew up in the same area. So he had known her and told me, that she was interested. So the more I talked to her, the more I knew she was a perfect fit for here. Obviously, her basketball experience speaks for itself with her playing career at Iowa State, and she actually was on our Elite Eight when we played Iowa State in the Elite Eight year. In that first round, she was a freshman on Iowa State's team. So she's played against us, and she's followed us from afar, since then, and has great respect for our program. So just her overall experience, someone that can bring more basketball knowledge and from, a storied program like Iowa State, who I have so much respect for Coach Finley, and then also just knowing what it's like to run a program. So she's been great. Love her insight and some new ideas she has. Obviously, she can't be out there coaching, but she's just been a very good addition to our program.
And some people say, what's the big deal about this? But we know this can be very important. You have a new strength coach. Talk about how that will affect your team. Kurt Johnson, previous experience at Georgetown and Miami, Florida.
Yeah, as you guys know, I mean, I say our strength coach is the most important person in your program. He's the one, or they're the ones that's with your team nonstop. They're the ones that's with your team in the summer and have, pretty much more time with them than we do as coaches. Timing-wise, it probably was not ideal. I mean, looking, when Rich had left and trying to bring in a new person, when we did, it was not an ideal time. But it's life, right? You can't change it. So we had to bring. Kurt was kind of transitioning in as we were starting our July workouts. So, you're trying to build relationships. You're trying to get used to a new system of training, a new approach, a new personality. So I credit our team and I credit Kurt for really making it work. And we're showing great progress in terms of where we're at conditioning-wise, where we're at, in terms of putting muscle on and changing the way, really our emphasis is how we move. That's our biggest thing. How are we going to move the best that we can possibly move? And that was a big emphasis in this off season. And I've seen the results of his work, and he's been another good addition for us.
Dennis?
Well, so part of your work, the phrase "one way." It's all over your Twitter and everything else. So much kind of captivated in 2 words. Talk about that.
I mean, for us, it's pretty simple. One way, do it the right way, do it as hard as you can, and just do things the right way. It's very simple. And for us, that's, taking every second as an opportunity to be the best version of yourself and be elite. And we talk about that daily. And that's all aspects of what you do in your life. So whether it's in the classroom, whether it's out in the community, whether it's on the floor, we're trying to be elite. We're trying to do it the right way, and it's just one way all the time.
I've got a couple more questions for you. So it's hard to believe we've gotten this far without talking about T. She had a great freshman year. Obviously just oozes with talent. How has I've noticed a trend with the first year after you kind of come to the program, that first summer, the players have really picked up in that second year. What's her off-season been like?
Yeah, for her, first off, just, she spent the whole summer here, which was really critical. She has not gone home since she's come over to the United States, last August. So she's been here now. I think her level, obviously, she speaks the language better than she did when she first got here. She trusts us more when she first got here. We had never met, T face-to-face. She had never been on campus. She had never been to the U.S. So imagine all those obstacles and then getting thrown into playing and really not even understanding the language. So during a pandemic. So, I mean, all that stuff being said, she had an unbelievable year. She had some ups and downs, and that's where I think her growth has been really. It's just the consistency in her mindset and her everyday work ethic, and knowing what we expect and knowing that we want what's best for her. And I think that's that trust in the relationship. So, she can be as good as she wants to be. We need to keep her healthy, keep her moving in the right direction. But she's really, you can't do much when she gets the ball down low. She has such great touch. She has such great, hook shot, both hands. She's gotten a ton stronger from a whole summer in the weight room. So just cannot wait to see her, out on that floor and what she's going to do this year.
If I can follow up with T, I don't know if it was that you planned it this way or it's a conditioning aspect. It seemed like she would play spurts, just a minute here, a minute there, out, back in. Is that a conditioning thing you've worked on with her?
Yeah, that was, I think, with a lot of bigs, right? Like, we got to get them to be able to play longer than 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. And, sometimes she could, sometimes she couldn't. She had a couple not major injuries last year, but some aches and pains that she dealt with. But then you look at her at the St. Louis game at St. Louis. She played 30-some minutes. So that was our big focus: getting her stronger, getting her in better condition, so she can play at greater lengths than quick spurts.
So I actually saw a video over the weekend. It was your team was shooting free throws blindfolded. I was just kind of curious, who's best at that, and how often do you do silly things like that?
Yeah, we have our sports psychologist, Dr. Cook, and that was an activity that she does every year, just part of what we call our family meetings, and where she runs them, and we're all in there, and we do different activities, or we talk, or really just time to be vulnerable and to grow and to become closer. And that was an activity that we do to really just reinforce that you do that. You shoot millions of free throws, in your life. Like, you can do it blindfolded. So a lot of our kids. It was funny because Erin's never been able to make one like right away, and she made the first one this year blindfolded. So hopefully some of her mental work and her visualization and the things that she's kind of really been working on, hopefully those things are paying off.
The Red Blue Dayton Basketball Fan Fest is Saturday at UD Arena. Doors open at 4 p.m. Tell us just what that is and a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's different because this is not UD putting it on. It's the outside company that's putting this on, and it's through the name, image, and likeness, and an event for our players. And I think it's an unbelievable opportunity for them. That now that they can make money, that they can have an event like this to profit from it. And I think it's really amazing that we have our women in it, because if you look at all the other schools that have had this event, their women have not been a part of it. We're the only school that the women have been a part of, and I credit, it's amazing. So we're going to use that in recruiting. Obviously, it's not us putting it out there, but our women will get paid to do this event, and I think it's really cool, and it's something that, whether we like it or not, is now college athletics.
Well, and just picking up kind of on that, I saw several things throughout the offseason, but the whole team was signed to like clothing deals and just we have to talk about name, image, likeness a little bit. So
yeah, some of our the whole team or whoever wanted to do it. Obviously it's not. I don't even know who does it or not. It's up to them, but someone had approached, local business had approached our women about the clothing line, and a lot of them took advantage of that. Some of them, they're all kind of in varying spaces with it. Like Jenna Giaconi's really ran with it and has done a ton of really cool stuff. So, and this opportunity for a whole team. So there's a lot of different things that are out there, and I think we're very blessed because we're in a community like Dayton that, men's and women's basketball, are very important to everyone, and hopefully that our kids can continue to benefit from that.
And Jenna, I think I did read that she had a basketball camp, so that's something obviously that she wouldn't have been able to do before.
Yes.
Do you know, or is there anything you can share about the other activities that any of the players did?
Just the camps, the workouts, the clothing line, the cryotherapy that Jenna's done. Jenna has a couple clothing things, one from up home in New York, and then obviously here. That's all I know about. Again, they don't have to run any of this by us. This is all on their own. And
but I guess your compliance department, they have to get involved.
Yes, we have someone in charge of it and helping advise our kids. So that's nice.
Okay, so somebody is going to step up to the podium and put you on the spot.
So these are a couple of UD women's basketball fans, and we'll let them fire a question at you.
Okay.
Step right up here.
With all your experience and depth, particularly at guard, I imagine you're going to be playing very up-tempo as you have in the past.
Oh yeah, yes. We want to play as fast as we can. Our transition, we're trying to score in 6 seconds or less, and if we don't have that, then we'll get it out and run offense. But yeah, we want to continue to push the pace for sure.
Good. You also had last several years these meetings before the ball games called Chalk Talks.
Yes.
They're very informative and interesting to us fans. Plus, you had free cookies. So, you're going to have those Chalk Talks this year? Is there any plans for that?
I looked to Ross on that. I haven't heard anything. Hopefully we will. I'm hoping we do because I know that the fans enjoy them and we all enjoy them. So that's on our sports information and see, hopefully with COVID we can make it happen.
Yeah, I can understand. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I think we have one more. Do you want to come up and ask your question? He's a big fan of UD women's basketball.
I love it.
So again, don't forget that 1660 Information Radio, there will be no TV feed. So you're stuck listening to, if you're not there at the game, you're stuck listening to Dennis and myself Friday night, November the 5th, about 6:45 against Indiana, University of Pennsylvania. And their head coach, by the way, was a UD men's assistant in 1986. Had to give that a mention. Go ahead with your question, my friend.
you guys have 6 games against Power 5 conferences, and I've seen you guys pick that up more and more over the years, but how do you feel like your program is going into 6 tough games?
I think that we built the schedule this year because of our experience. And now if we, maybe next year we're not going to build it that way because it will be a little bit different, right? In terms of having some younger players. But this year I felt like this was a year to do it, and we have to play them to have the opportunity to beat them, and we have to beat some of them in order to be in conversation on Monday night on Selection Monday. And that's the goal. And I told our team, with the veteran team, it's nice. You can be honest and have honest conversations, and they get what you're saying. And we just talked about it last week. Yes, we're playing them, but we're going into these games to beat them, not to just play them. And I told them we need to beat a couple of them. Even 2 years ago, that when we won both championships, we lost a couple close ones in overtime that probably would have put us, sealed us, to get in and for an at-large. So. That's the goal, and yeah, I think this was a year to schedule accordingly, and we did.
And my other one is, how does the A10 look to stack up against from 2 years ago when you guys won it all at home?
Yeah, I think this is the thing about this year in the A10 is it's such a veteran league. So many of the seniors last year are taking their extra year, their COVID year. I think this will be the most competitive A10 we've seen at least in 5 years for sure, hands down, no question about it. Some teams picked up some big-time transfers, like a Rhode Island. They're going to be really good. They have their foreign kids, their French kids that they have, but then they picked up a first-team All-Big East player from Seton Hall and another transfer from Providence. And I can go down the line. VCU obviously won it last year. They're going to be really good. St. Louis has everyone back. They lost a couple, but, it's just Fordham, UMass. It's going to be tough. From top to bottom, it's going to probably be the most competitive league, like I said, and I would say the past 5 years.
Okay. Good luck this year, Coach.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That takes care of our fan questions that we have time for. Anyway, I'm going to toss it back to Barney and Dennis and let them put their final wraps on this interview.
Thank you.
Any final questions from you, my friend?
Well, it's not so much a question, but I'll say this. 19 wins this year, Shauna, would move you to second all-time at Dayton in career wins here behind Jim Jaber. I don't know if you knew that or not, but in such a short time, just talk about what that means to you as, being so quickly moving up the board, in this program.
I mean, to me, it's just about doing whatever I can do, and to put us in the best position for our kids to have success. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's our players. Like, you got to have great players, and we've been fortunate, to get great players, but more importantly, great people that buy into what we're doing. And that work really, really hard. So I don't get caught up in the overall, I just want to win. And I want our players to win. I want our players to have success. I want our players to experience winning championships so they remember that the rest of their lives. And that's at the end of the day. And then hopefully the most important thing is that they grow and they're better when they leave here as a person than when they come here. And that's what it's about. Whatever it accumulates to or whatever, that's I don't really care about that. I just want to win, and I want to win championships, and I want our players to win championships at the end of the day.
And with that, thank you for coming out and talking with us, Coach. And Dennis, thank you. Go back to your football chart.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
So, again, as we wrap up the exhibition game, if you're not at UD Arena on Friday night, November the 5th at 7 o'clock against Indiana University of Pennsylvania, join us at 1660 radio1660.com for the radio broadcast. And then the regular season opener is a little different. Take off from work. Call it sick. I don't care. 11 a.m., November the 9th, Alabama A&M. In fact, there's another 11 o'clock game a week later, but we'll handle that at another time. Oh, I know. Here's an interesting one before we go away. Kara Lawson and Duke are going to come into town on Friday, November the 12th, and you have a unique situation there because Duke played a little bit and then stopped playing. Mm-hmm. So from preparation, I guess it's like Indiana University of Pennsylvania. I guess there's a challenge there to try to get ready for Duke. Your thoughts?
It's a big challenge, first off, because you don't know, because they didn't play last year. And then second off, their roster is completely different. I think they have 7 or 8 transfers, high-level transfers that have come in from all different programs across the country. So We know we already kind of pre-scouted all of our non-conference, so we already have a good idea of what they did last year and have those games already broken down. Obviously, we'll continue and scout them, but that'll be a difficult one, and those are some of those early ones. You just got to focus on yourselves, and we got to worry about us being, prepared and us being our best. But that'll be a tough one.
So as a follow-up to that, it's got to be a challenge to scout these teams because they have all these new players coming in from all these other programs. So you got to really chop up a lot of film.
Yeah.
And that takes time. And do you put that on an assistant coach to take these players, or how do you delegate that?
Yeah, actually, for all the pre-scout is one of our GAs, Zach Chu, who is just unbelievable and loves this stuff. So he's in there breaking everything down, prepping, watching all the film of Duke from last year, and then he went through all the other players and new transfers and watched their film from where they're at previously. So he prepared all of our pre-scouts, but then once we get into season, then it's our assistants that each take a scout, and obviously I watch a ton of film myself, so then we'll come together for game plans and all of that. But shout out to Zach because he's the best, and he puts a lot of work into it to make sure that it's done at a very high level.
Especially this year, you're going to wear out your ESPN Plus subscription. All right, so we thank the coach, and we thank Norm, and we thank Dennis, and we thank you for watching this. Again, Friday, November the 5th, 7 o'clock, radio1660.com against Indiana University of Pennsylvania. This is Barney Sentner saying have a good evening.